The Business Review brings you top financial news developments, influencing financial markets, international currencies, commodities, global commerce, tourism, and other economic events from around the globe.
As Asian travelers tentatively return to the skies amid the pandemic, some are choosing to wear special suits covering much of their body to protect them against the virus. One Taiwanese company manufacturing such outfits, BenQ Materials Corporation, displayed its version on board a flight to nowhere along the island's east coast, and its chairman wants to promote them beyond the Asian market. BenQ's raincoat-like suits are designed to shield travelers as much as possible, sealing around the wrists and waist and including a closely fitted hood over which a face mask can be worn. Global airline passenger numbers have collapsed during the pandemic. Many countries have closed borders, with people fearful of traveling in any case due to concerns they may get infected at the airport or on board flights. Airlines and airports have unveiled a raft of measures to reassure people, including regularly deep cleaning aircrafts. Some airlines, including Taiwanese carriers, have been putting on flights to nowhere, giving travel staff passengers the chance to experience airline flying even though they start from and end at the same destination.
At a small gallery in Afghanistan's capital, Faika Sultani carefully dips a brush in paint before applying it to a felt canvas propped up on an easel. Sultani, a 27-year-old, said she had been feeling depressed due to being out of work for nearly 2 months, a problem made worse by the coronavirus lockdown earlier this year, until she joined art enterprise Nimad Company about a month ago. Sultani studied art at Kabul and India universities and also works in fashion and painting on clothes. She noted that painting on felt is more challenging than other materials as she needs to apply more pressure to the paintbrush. Reviving the use of felt, a traditional textile in Afghanistan, showcasing the war-torn country's creativity in attempting to provide employment and a creative outlet for young people hit hard by the pandemic, were all goals for Marzia Panahi, the founder of Nimad Company. In Dari, Nimad means felt. The international relations student launched the enterprise at the height of the pandemic in September after studying how to start a business and painting online. She established Nimad Company with $100 that she had saved up from previous work. Panahi currently employs 10 people, including 3 artists, and said has sold dozens of paintings so far, ranging between $100 and $200 each, largely through word of mouth. Afghanistan, where more than 60% of the population is younger than 25, has always struggled with high youth unemployment, but the pandemic's economic impact has exacerbated economic problems, with the World Bank predicting more than 70% of the population will slip beneath the poverty line in 2020. In addition to generating jobs, Panahi said that she had wanted to find a way to revive the use of felt, which has been produced and used in Afghanistan for centuries, especially in rural areas. It's made from animal wool, especially sheep wool. Nimad Company sources its felt from a rural part of Jawazjan province in the northern part of the country. In the past, Afghans used felt to make carpets and mattresses.
Pfizer Incorporated and BioNTech could secure emergency US and European authorization for their COVID-19 vaccine next month after final trial results showed it had a 95% success rate and no serious side effects. The vaccine's efficacy was found to be consistent across different ages and ethnicities, a promising sign given the disease has disproportionately hurt the elderly and certain groups including black people. BioNTech Chief Executive Ugur Sahin said the U.S. Food and Drug Administration could grant emergency use by the middle of December. Conditional approval in the European Union could be secured in the second half of December. For members of the public in Washington, the news of 2 potential vaccines signal hope for the end of the pandemic. For some, the chance to relax will come once their at-risk loved ones can be marked safe from the virus. An FDA advisory committee tentatively plans to meet on December the 8th through to the 10th to discuss the vaccine, a source familiar with the situation said, though the dates could change. The FDA did not respond to requests for comment. Pfizer said it expects to make as many as 50 million vaccine doses this year, enough to protect 25 million people, and then produce up to 1.3 billion in 2021. With some groups, such as healthcare workers, being prioritized in the United States and Britain for vaccinations, it'll be months before large-scale rollouts begin in either country.
A senior official with the Chinese Ministry of Commerce stated that the 12th BRICS summit concluded with 4 major achievements made in the economic and trade fields. BRICS is an acronym for 5 major emerging countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, which together represent about 42% of the global population, 23% of global GDP, 30% of world territory and 18% of global trade. The 12th BRICS summit was held virtually. At a press briefing in Beijing, Chen Chao, director of International Department of China's Ministry of Commerce, introduced the 4 major achievements made at the summit. First, the BRICS countries reached consensus on international anti-epidemic cooperation, with all BRICS members unanimously agreeing to promote trade facilitation to higher levels to ensure circulation of crucial supplies such as medical supplies and food grain, to stabilize the supply chain and the industrial chain, and to extend support to these sectors hit hard by the epidemic in efforts to minimize the impact and disruption brought by the epidemic to the international economic and trade cooperation. There was unanimous commitment to the multilateral trade system. The leaders verified and approved the joint statement issued by the economic and trade ministers on the multilateral trade system and reform of the World Trade Organization. Third, some achievements were made in deepening economic and trade cooperation, with approval of the Memorandum of Understanding of the BRICS countries on investment facilitation. Finally, the Strategy for BRICS Economic Partnership 2025 was formulated. BRICS countries have developed a wide field of economic and trade cooperation so far. This document confirms 3 key fields: the field of trade, investment and finance, the field of digital economy, and the field of sustainable development.
Nissan's chief operating officer cautioned any final exit by Britain from the European Union that worsens business conditions through increased tariffs and would threaten the sustainability of Nissan Motor Corporation's UK operations. Nissan, which employs 7,000 people at Britain's biggest auto plant in Sunderland, northeast England, in June urged for an orderly, balanced Brexit. Its latest warning, however, comes as EU cautions Britain it has less than 10 days left to secure a deal that will govern trade from next year. Nissan in March said it will push ahead with a £52 million expansion at Sunderland to build its new Qashqai sports utility vehicle. When it announced the plan in 2016, Nissan, which builds its Leaf electric cars there, said Britain had reassured it Brexit would not affect its competitiveness. But tariffs resulting from a no-deal Brexit would raise costs for Nissan, while any delay in parts supplies from overseas due to new customs checks could slow production. Nissan was not seeking compensation, it said, from Britain for costs incurred from any no-deal Brexit, contradicting press reports that it and Toyota Motor Corporation would do so. On a separate plan announced by the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson to move up a UK ban on new petrol and diesel cars and vans to 2030 from 2035, a Nissan executive said his company was ready to respond.
This brings us to the end of this episode of the Business Review. We hope to see you again tomorrow with news of stock markets, economic conferences, commodities, currencies, regional and international financial news, and much more.